Well, hello. Every gal needs a cowboy hat.
Scanning the room, you look for a familiar face. Everyone is a stranger. Your heart's racing, you feel nauseous. New plan. You meet 4 new people. Okay, 3. 2. You can handle 2. And then you think, I hate this. This just feels so fake. And before you talk to even 1 new person, you're looking for the nearest exit.
Okay. Crazy. Yo, who invited this chick?
My heart races when I walk into a room full of strangers too. Except it's not anxiety, it's excitement. I'm not thinking networking quota. I'm thinking, look at all these stories. And I get so pumped about talking to people that I don't know.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Woohoo! Yeah, here we are. It is that time of year. It is Happy New Year time. And yes, everyone needs, along with those hats, everyone should have a boa. It's like so fun when you have a boa. Welcome, everyone. So good to see you. I'm just going to, because we are live, let me see, make sure my AirPods here are, let me get them. There we are. Okay. Welcome to Show Up with Gailnow Live. And we have an exciting show today because we have my guests that were on this year. They are all going to, well, not everyone, but a lot of them are coming back to say hello. And we're going to have just some fun here. There is really no master plan other than everybody coming on, doing a little connecting, saying hello. And I've asked everybody to share what their plan is for their curiosity brain for 2022. So that will be, that's going to be, and I'm going to tell my producer in the background what I'm getting. Not sure if the sound, can I get a thumbs up if my sound is okay? Okay, yeah, for some reason I see in one of the contents, one of the messages that Janine says she wants my feather boa. I may lend it out. So let me just go back up and let's sit tight, everybody. Let me see. For some reason, my AirPod are giving me. Okay, we'll try to get that fixed while we bring on some of our guests shortly. So my name is Gail Robertson and my business is Gailnow. And I talk about a 3-step process, which is sign up, suit up, and show up. And that's what I encourage my clients to do. And I work in manufacturing and help manufacturers tell their stories. As a recovering journalist, that is something that has been my area of specialty to help unearth, discover, and then show up with those stories. So many people have amazing stories. And unfortunately, they think they're not important. And often they may not even know how to share them. So today we're talking with people that do understand that, or at least a lot of them do understand how to unearth some stories and share them. So we're going to be talking with that. We even have, I know we'll be addressing the red M&M and the bowl of green, because we have Damon Pastulka is in the green room now. I see some people starting to show up at our green room, which is very exciting. And I know Janine, I think we'll get Janine the link to show up in the green room as well. I know she's in the comments. I see that we have some guests showing up. So thank you all for stopping by. This is really a powerhouse today of people. And those of you that know me know that showing up is something that I actually enjoy doing. And I really like to share that with a lot of my clients and help them to see the value and the benefit of doing that, because it helps with connections.
It helps to grow your business. And it really just makes a difference when you can start to expand your world and using social media. I often say this: if a tree falls in the forest and no one is there to document it and spread the word, then really it's such a small group of people that know about it. So we're going to today spread the word. We have a lot of people. Hopefully everybody in their networks will tune in. And, if one person meets someone new, that would be great today. Okay, I want to first, I'm just going to let's bring Damon in, because Damon is someone who has definitely shown me the value of being that red M&M in a bowl of green.
Oh no, you brought me on first. I'm like, what?
Well, I'm also going to try. See, now what's happening here is that my AirPods are showing they're on, but it just says noise cancellations. Oh, wait a minute. What's that? No.
There you go.
Oh, there we are. You know what? I had transparency on. It wasn't working. So,
yeah.
As we know, and I know you do live shows, what I love about live is also something that's what I don't like. When something like that happens, you know what? It's, you can't turn back. But I also love that because you can't turn back. There's just like,
yeah,
it's real. It's real, baby.
I've been listening to a lot of podcasts, and I think that's one of the downfalls of the podcast is that you never know factor, right?
Yeah.
And I think it is what gives live the unique perspective for people.
Yeah.
Unique
and it's
value.
I think too, we want to really be more connected with people, and especially in and I don't even want to get too much into the world right now, because I'm looking forward to 2022, and I'm going to say we're going to rock it. We are going to be curious, not judgmental. We are going to encourage more of those red M&Ms to come out. So Damon, why don't I start with, what do you think is something that you've learned from 2021 about curiosity?
Well, it's just how much you don't know. I mean, that's the thing. Is curiosity drives the desire to learn more, and as you learn more, you realize I know nothing. And as you know that, it drives you to want to learn more about certain things. And I think it's fun, whether you're trying to, get better at your craft or just be a better person. There's just so much to learn and to understand that, our parents didn't know, we didn't know. And then honestly has been around for thousands of years. It's crazy.
I like that. You learn more or be a better person. I think that's the biggest part about curiosity that I want to really delve into myself, is that how, when we become more curious, can we just be better people, develop a better community, and see what the world, what awaits. On that note, I think I'm going to just bring everybody up from the green room, Inger. And Inger is one of my guests. We work together. She does show production. We're going to let her get sorted in the background, and then I'll bring Inger. Oh, Liliana's in the house too. There we go. Okay, we have Liliana. So we have Tony. We have Nathalie, and we'll see. I know Janine is in the audience, and we're going to bring Janine on, because Janine Leslie-Berglund is also the president of Canadian Association of Mold Makers. She's here. We have there's Janine. So, and I know we had a few other people that were maybe going to try to pop in and say hello. I am super excited. This is like being in a candy store with all like just super cool people, and just all of you that show up in life. You showed up in my life and have made such a difference. When I look at each of you, I have a story in my head and my heart about how you have helped me be more curious, and also help propel me to do more in manufacturing. And I just about everybody here has also had a role in terms of my work in manufacturing. So let's see. This is, it's like, it's like, where to begin? So I'm going to go over to Nathalie next, just because Nathalie came to me through Twitter. And Twitter, as much as I love LinkedIn and some other channels, Twitter is where, for me, where I really found my place on social media. So Nathalie, why don't you tell a little bit about
what maybe I've asked, I know this isn't the question I've asked you because I like to do some surprises, that what did you learn about curiosity in 2021?
What I learned about curiosity in 2021, that I needed to do more of it, that I needed to show up more, that I needed to be more curious, and I needed to stop being quiet about it. I needed to tweet about it. I need to show up on Instagram, because that was one of the ways that I move through innovation for my brand and my company. So I need to do more of it.
And for those of you out there that don't know, Nathalie has a great Twitter chat called #LeadLoudly. It is such an amazing place where I've learned a lot, met some amazing people. Jim Katzman, who did a blog about when I was on the Twitter chat. So just some amazing high energy people that are doing wonderful things. So thank you, Nathalie. And before we go further, let's do, just to get things warmed up, do we have a song maybe that we could just take a little early on, take a song break? Let's see if we have that, because Nathalie, this is where she showed up this year. While what's getting queued up, I may get cut off, but I asked each of my future guests, so some of the previous guests you haven't had to do it, but when I started doing TikTok, everybody did a TikTok with me. So do we have that? Oh, maybe not. If not, we can.
We are the world. We are the children. We are the one to make a brighter day. So let's start giving. Oh, there's a choice we're making. We're saving our lives. If we make a better day, just you and me.
We are the world. We are the people. Whatever. Okay, I love that song. That wasn't quite. We'll get to the other video eventually. I think we have another video of nothing, but we'll wait on that. We'll save that one. But I love that song. Doesn't that just get you all wanting to sing? I know you're all out there going, even the audience out there, I know you want to sing. So, okay, we have some more people in the green room. I suggest we're just going to bring up everyone, Inger. Let's bring them up and see who else is here. We have Lisa and Doug. This is like Happy New Year to me. This is so exciting. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Doug.
Hi.
Hello. And do we have anybody else in the green room, Inger? No? Okay. I'm seeing, just a minute. Okay. So before we go any further, I want to introduce, so Lisa and Doug, this is a throwback to as you know, I'm a recovering journalist. So I'm going to just, for everybody else that's on the screen are more newer people in my life. Lisa and Doug go back to when I'll mention it was back in time back when I was a child worker. Doug was one of my first bosses when I worked as a reporter at the Windsor Star. He was when I worked in the Essex Bureau, right, Doug?
That's right.
That's right. Doug Furby and Lisa Monfort. And Lisa then was my boss when I moved over to, I worked on an entertainment magazine as part of the Windsor Star called Express Magazine. And Lisa was my boss there. And we did some great things. And Lisa was on my show this year and talked about their cycling journey. So today, just for everybody watching and tuning in, please, we are going to be kind of jumping around. It's going to be a real mixed bag of talking about manufacturing, talking about showing up, talking about leadership, talking about TEDx. We're going to have, which Doug and Lisa, I think you may need to do a TEDx talk. So Lisa and Doug, can you just give maybe a highlight of your cycling journey this year?
Why do you do that?
Yeah.
Well, okay, so we had quite the adventure this year. We cycled across Canada. We started in Kelowna, British Columbia on May 28th, and we soldiered across the entire country, arriving in St. John's, Newfoundland on October 12th. And there were many, many adventures along the way. Lisa can talk about her little setback that she recovered from. But we met so many extraordinary people along the way, generous people, interesting people, eccentric people. So there's lots for us to talk about in that experience. But, you know, Lisa and I talked a lot about how the trip actually changed us as individuals. We both worked in journalism for many years, and working in journalism, as Gail can attest, you sometimes see the darker side of humanity. You see the liars and the cheats and the politicians and what have you. But it didn't matter what part of the country we were in, and Saskatchewan, Quebec, the Atlantic provinces, any part of the country, all we saw was kindness and generosity in people who were engaged by our adventure.
Thank you. We're going to circle back and hear more from a bit about Lisa's journey. And for those of you that know me, I got into cycling about within the last 2 years, just before the pandemic, actually, and have now, I'm not quite ready for a cross Canada journey, but I have increased my treks, and I absolutely love getting out on my bike. And I actually have a goal again this year that I cycle every month. So as long as there's no snow or ice, I draw the line there. But so February is going to be tough. So I just want to say thank you we have some people in the comments. Elizabeth is one of the greatest supporters of all these live stream shows, and she's commenting. So I know, Inger, I don't know if you want to put up some of her comments. She's been great in terms of supporting. She said that we've got Damon cry laughing. Yes, Damon, I'm sure many times he does that when he's talking to me too. Okay. Thank you if you are out listening in the comments, please drop a comment. Tell us where you're from. If anything else you want to share. And as I said, today's show really is about people who show up. And one of the things that I did learn as a reporter is that, and I'm sure Doug and Lisa, just like they said, meeting real people along the way. Whenever I am meeting people in manufacturing and learning what's happening there, there's so many great stories that aren't told, and they need to be told. And on that note, I want to let's go over to Janine Lasleen Berglund, who is the president of Canadian Association of Mold Makers. I got roped on, asked to be on the board of Canadian Association of Mold Makers, but it has been one of the greatest journeys of my life to learn. I feel like I'm almost sitting at, every time I go to a meeting, that I'm sitting like just in this, my own bubble of learning and experiencing what happens by the people who make things that make things. Over to you, Janine.
Holy cow. Well, Gail, you're always a hard, tough act to follow, but I think the majority of the folks in the audience here would not be surprised that you're always in your own bubble. Anyway, yeah, exactly. I got, kudos to you, Gail. You've really helped me come out of my shell a little bit. I think for those of you that know me well, know that I really like being behind the scenes. Not so comfortable being in front all the time. And, you've helped me hone or help me at a minimum cope with some of my anxiety about that. So I appreciate it. You were talking about curiosity. I think, this is a great platform to be able to talk specifically about, for those of us who are maybe have extroverted tendencies, when we're in a room full of people, it's okay. And it's, more importantly, it's easy to be curious with people because you've got that one-on-one connection and you're meeting and talking with them. So curiosity, specifically in listening to you and Damon and Billiana and Natalie and so many other fantastic guests that you have had on, has taught me a little bit about being able to transition that curiosity from a face-to-face discussion to online. Because I think those of us who do a lot of work, and engaging with people is, a significant part of how we need to do business or engage. Being online with people and having to wait for that response in the text message, or having to wait for the instant message from a LinkedIn communication. It's really easy to get distracted and not focused and lose that curiosity about, whatever you happen to be talking about. So curiosity, let's say, has led me to being a little more genuine in this kind of platform and in these online tools, and asking the questions that I would immediately ask if you would when you're in person. So I'm grateful to all of you for that insight. if you will. And I'm taking that with me into 2022. And like you, Gail, I'm just looking forward to a brand new year. I beat this one to death. It's time for it to lay over and die so I can get on with the next one.
Yes, I think, thank you, Janine. You are definitely, and as much as Janine often says, she always questions about her when she steps out into the public, and yet she does a phenomenal job. And that's the other thing that I have noticed. I mean, a lot of people that, think they're maybe don't know what to do or they struggle with it. And yet once I watch them step out into the spotlight, they usually do such an amazing job. And I know that, for people like Doug and Lisa and myself that have come from, the print world, as I like to say, I remember, and Doug, I know you must remember this too, working on a manual typewriter way back when, and to see how much has changed from going from a manual typewriter to now, my phone and having that, my mini computer everywhere I go, and being able to share stories, and now passing that on to other people, especially in manufacturing. And you'll probably hear a little bit about me mentioning this today because manufacturing, there is so much potential to share the story. And on that note, I am going to get to you, Tony, but I want to go because that's a good segue into Biljana, who does work with and encourages people to tell their stories through the TEDx platform. And I know she is someone that is encouraging, especially people in manufacturing, because, and this is my marketing brain, is that there is an opportunity, is there not, Biljana, about manufacturing for TEDx?
Absolutely, yes. As everything is about curiosity, like for me, every time when I think about you, Gail, is like, that is the curiosity girl, which I know. And going back to your first question, what you asked, how curious, what happened in 2021 towards curiosity? I have to actually confess here completely that the first time when I met you, you made me realize that it was curiosity which made me go from idea to being super curious as of what makes one TEDx talk successful and what makes TEDx talks not successful. What I mean successful, not successful is like one of the key elements what I look for is how many views a TEDx video has. And of course, as many video views has one talk is more popular and therefore bigger success. And that curious brain what I had was leading to me to talk a lot more about the digital side of the TEDx talk, the SEO side of a TEDx talk, because yes, I am a professional speaker, and yes, I explain a lot about the script and content and how to tell the story of what stories you've got, how to pick the best story, and what is the criteria to pick the best stories from your life to put it in a very short 10-15 minutes talk. But then after all, is what's going to happen with that TEDx talk once it's out to the world? Because at the end of the day, we do TEDx talks because we want to share our wisdom with the world. And then how you share the wisdom with the world, you have to basically have thousands of millions of views. And that is not many people talk about it. And my curious brain led me to, let's talk a lot more about the SEO and the digital sides of the TEDx video and what YouTube can do for you, and what kind of social media hacks you can put in the content and the YouTube video of the TEDx and all the digital sites, not just the talk of itself. So it was my curious brain which totally made my business as a business. And as a success later on. But if you think about it, it is curiosity which, if you think of all kind of really good businesses, even in the past, it was the curious brain of the founders which made them think completely different way on the same thing, but completely different way. Like Mr. Harrison Ford said, like, you're not gonna stop. You have to create the four cylinders engine. Like, it's possible. If it's in my brain, then it's possible. Who will stop? And they made it at some point. He was curious, right? So
Mhm.
every single business is based on someone being super curious if what is in their head can actually happen in reality. And that's what happened with my brain, with my business in 2021. So like
Ah.
that's how me and Gail clicked directly. The first time when we spoke was like direct click there. I was like, yep, I am one of those curious people.
Yes, you are. And Billy Ann, what you said, I want to give a shout out to Nathalie about this, because Nathalie also helped me connect the dots between innovation and curiosity. You can't have innovation without that sort of curious brain and tapping into it. And a little more context about Billiana. Billiana does, I mean, that was the first thing I noticed about her, is how she uses data, analytics, and strategy. Because a lot of people will tell you how to write a speech. Again, they can tell you how to cut down the tree. They can tell you what type of saw to use. They can stand there and watch you. But here is where the magic happens. The magic happens when you have someone that can then say, hey, let's bring in a video crew and start telling the world about this tree cutting. And that is really where, and I'll talk more about this, where I'm going in 2022 will be to really delve into the sign up, suit up, and show up. And manufacturing is the place for great opportunity when it comes to marketing. And if I've learned anything from my business brain and running a bed and breakfast, yes, I did run a bed and breakfast, was another piece of my past. It was all about, where are there opportunities? And that is something that we often miss when we're talking about, even a SWOT analysis. You can talk about your strengths and weaknesses. You can be the greatest thing ever, but you have to find the opportunity. And this is a perfect segue to introduce Tony DeMacas, who will talk about opportunity manufacturing and how you need to show up and start telling the word. Because Tony, actually, I met him for the first time at a Merimold in Chicago. And he's one of the few, actually, let's see, he may be the only person on this call that actually has seen me live do karaoke.
I've seen it.
He's not, I've seen it.
I've seen it.
And we'll just leave it there.
I love watching karaoke. I love people's energy. I love seeing their joy. I love seeing people go out there and try it. I prefer to be the Simon Cowell of karaoke and sit back and give my feedback and my applause. It's about knowing your strengths and weaknesses, right? Nobody wants to hear me sing. That is a fact. I will dance in the seat. I will sing along with whoever's doing it, but believe it or not, I don't love attention. A lot of people think I love attention because I try and put myself in the light for social media and everything, but that's all to grow our brand and our business. I would love for other people to come along and do that. But for now, I get to be the face, and that's fine. But it's not for the attention for me. It's for the attention for the people that work here and the ways that we can grow and impact other people and have and make a difference. And that's to me what it's about. So, going off your question on curiosity, how did curiosity affect me in 2021 is a big thing. And I'm still trying to process. I mean, we're almost at the end of 2021 and I'm still processing 2021. Really for me, curiosity looks like this. Why am I doing this? Why am I in this space? Why did I come from having a design marketing company to coming back to run our family's business? Why? What's the purpose for that? What does God have in store for me, for my life, for the people around me, and the way that I can impact others? And every day it shows up in a different way, whether that's being a light in the shop, on the floor to give people encouragement, to reach out to a customer, give them a little shot in the arm and let them know that we're going to come through for them, working with our team and how we can encourage them, listening to problems, sharing my problems, being vulnerable with people, just letting people in, and just listening and watching for where God is acting in my life and going in that direction and really going all in for it and not holding back. I think a lot of times with curiosity, people believe curiosity killed the cat, so they stop. I don't necessarily think that's true. I think curiosity is good. I think you need to be cautious with your curiosity. And I think you need to be, you need to have discernment in where you're going to let that curiosity go. And you don't just act on everything, But when you do it all in, and you give it everything you've got, and you commit to that vision. You have to say no to certain things. That's where I'm really bad. I don't like to say no. I think no is just a wall that gets put up, and it doesn't allow opportunity to come in. But I think if you really embrace that curiosity, and you really look into it, and you really focus and say, I'm going to do this, but I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. I'm going to do it all in. I'm going to show up, right? That's your thing, Gail, is you got to show up. And so, it doesn't matter. We were listening, she was mentioning the TED Talk, and success is defined by how many people watch it and how far it goes out into the stratosphere or the internets or whatever. And I kind of look at it in a different way. I think those numbers are great, that those data points are great. But for me, success is, did one person hear it and get value out of it? Did it reach one person? Did it make an impact in one person's life? Are they better off from hearing it? If 20 million people hear it and it doesn't change anything, it's just noise. It's just chatter. It's just static in the universe. But if two people hear it, if one person hears it and makes an impact in their day, it makes them smile, it gives them encouragement, it allows them to then be curious, it gives them freedom to act on something. To me, that's where that success comes from. And for me, I want to find how can I help other people to find that freedom, to find that success, to be bold in what they're doing, whether that's in manufacturing, whether that's in my 15-year-old or 12-year-old's life, or somebody that's on our team. How can I give them encouragement and joy and purpose, and let them feel that curiosity and that energy? So that's a lot. Sorry.
No, that is, Tony, that is great. And I think exactly what you said and what Billy Ann was talking about in terms of the numbers. I look at it also a bit like, sales. The more people you're reaching, the greater chance you may not impact all of those eyes and ears, but if you get even a handful of it, and I agree completely. I have found, even with, people often look at, the numbers on, Twitter or whatever social media platform, but if one or two people can be impacted, I agree, that is tremendous success. So thank you for that. I did want to say, part of, my 3-step is sign up, suit. So sign up is the mindset. Suit up is where you do your research. That's where you look into things. So when I was studying curiosity, I had to address, like, curiosity killed the cat, because, like, I love cats, and I'm like, I'm sorry, like, I don't want getting down to my cat. So I had to look into it, and actually, here's a little tidbit. It wasn't curiosity that killed the cat, it was worry. And if you look back at the history of that story, it actually has changed over time. I think it was around 1900, there was a change in the story. So here's the thing about stories too. We have to always be aware that they are told by people, by individuals. And sometimes over time, it's like that telephone game, things get changed. So it wasn't curiosity, which I think worry is what killed the cat, because worry will kill us all. That's the thing that is trouble. So there you go. The cats can run free, and we've saved the cats. Their curiosity didn't kill them. So the other thing that you said about no, another thing that I've learned is that the power of, instead of no, saying yes and, which is used a lot in improv as well. So because if you say no, you've stopped the scene right there. As soon as, if someone says something and you don't have a response, so you have to say yes and. So there's always an opportunity to say yes and instead of no. And but I think sometimes some of us just don't know how to say no about the things there are times we need to say no. Okay, thank you, Tony. That was great. As I said, Tony and I met on the convention floor at Amerimold. Doug and Lisa, I see Doug smiling, because I'm like, who would have thought I'd go from, being, I was a journalist, then I ran a bed and breakfast on an island, then I was a fundraiser for a culture recreation complex. Then I was a manager of a marketing department of a large company in the insurance and technology world, and now doing my own business, and got into manufacturing. And not only manufacturing, I got into mold making. I mean, I'm like, that's my area of specialty. And I work with a company here locally called Cavalier Tool, an amazing company that has also been a great learning venture. So, okay, I'm going to just now go back. I do want to bring Lisa on, because I want to have Lisa maybe talk a little bit about now, you have someone that have showed up from in terms of your writing and traveling, and you do a lot of travel stories. Lisa's one of those people that I always like. I'm in awe of watching her, from climbing mountains to cycling across Canada. And we connected back, I guess it was in the summer, because Lisa actually had a fall off her bike, but she got back on and finished off the trek. Can you maybe talk a little bit about that and a little bit about your writing, Lisa, in terms of curiosity?
Well, I'm an endlessly curious person, and I just think that, well, as a journalist, that is one of the hallmarks of being a journalist, is that you have to have curiosity. Otherwise, why are you in the business? Because every day you're talking to somebody new. And if I want to talk a little briefly about my travel writing, is when I went into journalism, I actually had a completely different idea of what I was going to be doing. I thought I was going to be writing about politics and doing investigative journalism, and had all these, lofty notions. I think I was influenced by the time that I grew up, which I won't reveal. But anyway, falling into journalism, I never really had a plan. And just kind of, and as somebody said, saying yes to certain opportunities is really how my career went. And, I have very few regrets. I did say no to one opportunity. Occasionally I have a regret about it, but I feel like I said yes to, first of all, coming out from Ontario to Alberta, where I had never been before in my entire life, and working for the Calgary Herald. Doug, of course, and I are partners, and he went out there first, and I was like, I don't know. I've never been there. I landed in Calgary on a minus 40 day, just like it is here today, pretty much, and didn't have a job, but, had some experience and figured, well, within a couple of months, I'm sure I'll be able to get something at the Calgary Herald. And sure enough, I had been a senior editor back in Ontario, but I called up the night editor and I said, I'd really like to just do some afternoon shifts at first, and maybe I'll just fill in for, it was summer. It was going to be summer. And I said, I'll just fill in on the night shift. And I had already done this way back in my career. So sometimes you have to take a couple of steps back and do something that you may feel is beneath you, but it's not really beneath you. It's always an experience. So I ended up working on the night desk at the Calgary Herald for about 3 months. And then within that time, the travel weekend editor got a promotion, and I ended up getting her job. And that's how I became the travel and weekend life editor. So it was just, putting myself out there, doing a lesser job, and then, showing my stuff and showing my talents and how I can get along with people and how I can be a good manager, and being very collegial. And that's how I ended up being the travel editor at the Calgary Herald for more than 10 years. And that just was, sort of opened up my whole view, because I had wanted to travel and thought, I'll do it later after the kids are grown. But this really offered me the opportunity to go and see the world and meet people and learn about cultures. And that's really what I love to do, is I love learning about new cultures and seeing how people live and how they problem solve. So anyway, I did that for 10 years, and then segue to the present. And I started my own business, and things have gone very well. And Doug has joined me. And then we decided to do a big trip to, we said we wanted to do something really different. We talked about going to Southeast Asia. And I had this person that I had written a story about probably 8 or 9 years before. And he sent me an email, and he said, I'm running a bike trip to Argentina, a bike touring trip. So he said, I'm having a presentation at a local pub. Why don't you and Doug come and see what it's all about? So Doug was down working downtown, and I went to this meeting. He was going to be about an hour late. And by the time Doug got there, I had signed us up for this Argentina bike touring trip. And that's really how this whole cross Canada thing started. So we went on this 2-week trip to Argentina with our friend Rick, who has traveled the world on his bicycle. And we just had such a fantastic time meeting people every day with something new. The food, the group dynamics were also very, sometimes people had bad days and you had to talk people, help them, encourage them to keep going. And so we worked together really well as a group, and we became very good friends with Rick. And then as a lot of great ideas happened after being back home in Calgary, we were having a beer with Rick, and Rick said, I've always wanted to cycle across Canada. And Doug said, so have I. And I said, you have? Like, this is something I had not heard in more than 20 years of marriage. And so that was, the seed was planted, and we just, for a year, we planned and planned and planned. Rick made the route up for us, and then we got all our gear together, and we wanted the philosophy of the trip was, we call ourselves Connect Tour. And as we were coming out of COVID, we wanted to reconnect with everyday Canadians. So that became the theme of our trip. And so, yeah.
Wow.
May
Well,
28th,
it sounds
day.
like,
that's what we did.
It also sounds like, I know this seems like a couple of trips started over a beer. But I know you're also a wine drinker too, right? So
yes.
Which we should have. I hope everybody is going to be taking part in some, maybe, well, whatever drink of choice, not necessarily. I do want to just take a break just to say Natalie, I believe, had to leave. I do want to bring Inger up. Inger, can you come up on stage? Oh, no, she's going to. So, and I know everybody today. I want to thank everybody for coming out today during the because this is still in that great period of holidays when you kind of know what day it is, what are we eating, where are we at. So Inger, if you want to go, Inger, we met through networking. It was through actually in an ERP group of all things, which and to be honest, I didn't even know when I got invited to this happy hour ERP. I'm like, okay, I don't even know exactly what ERP is, but okay, here I go. I'm still not 100% sure, but I'm starting to it's starting to click into place. So Inger and I met. Inger was doing at the time, Inger has a business. Well, Inger, why don't you come on and say a little bit about what you do and what you've learned about curiosity. And welcome to Inger, because Inger now has gone from actually being more of like an assistant with me to a business partner and friend and show producer. So welcome, Inger. She's gonna bring there she is.
Thank you. Happy almost New Year to everyone, and thank you, Gail, for having me. Yeah, like to be honest with you, I never really thought about curiosity until I met you. And I think that's true for most. And you know, what stood out to me the most was your title, which is Chief Curiosity Officer at Gailnow. So for me, I was like, that's curious, I guess. And for me, I think for 2021, curiosity has helped me to overcome fear. Anybody that knows me knows I hate video. I really do. And that's why I was cringing about coming on here. But, you know, I hate video. It's just because of fear of being vulnerable, I guess. And, you know, this past year has helped me to transition from doing one thing to doing something almost completely different. And of course, you know, when you transition, it's there is fear involved, because basically what you're doing is you're in your comfort zone and then you have to explore something new. So, you know, where the fear comes in is like it actually you're confronted by it as you're trying to step out of your comfort zone. And the curiosity has helped me to overcome that fear and just explore where it's going to take me. And yes, I am in a very different place today on December 29th than I was on January 1st of this year. And it's all because of being curious and overcoming my fear and embracing something new, something different. So yeah, that's my take on curiosity and how it has transformed me.
Well, you are definitely someone who has, Inger now has her own live show. She's on a guest of another multiple person live show, and she talks about something called Ubuntu,
which is, well, do you want to explain what that is? Because I think that's important, especially with everybody on this call. I think this is really a good example of when I look at the people that are gathered here today about, for me as well, Ubuntu, how it's affected my life.
So there is a saying that goes, we are the sum of the 5 people that are around us. And Ubuntu means, so Ubuntu is actually an ancient African word, and it originated in South Africa, which is where I'm from. So I grew up with this principle, knowing it, living it, doing it, being it. And so Ubuntu, the definition of it is, I am who I am because of who we all are. So for me, I believe not just that I'm the sum of the 5 people around me, but I am the sum of everyone who I have encountered in my life. And I'm the sum of my experiences as a result of that.
Thank you, Inger. That is, to me, that is a word, that is sort of a word that I'm going to carry into 2022 in terms of curiosity, because I do think that, you know, who we're surrounded by, and that I am, what is it? I am who we are. I am
who I am because of who we all are.
We all are, yes. And that just says so much about our society right now too. I think if we really have to look at, the more we can surround ourselves with people who lift us up. I think I posted something recently, that you know, the importance of hanging around with cool cats like all of you. So that is and it is such a learning opportunity when you can associate with people who do lift you up. And so I know, as I said, Natalie had to leave. And I know Billion is, I think, here, but maybe listening or off because it's her dad's birthday. I did ask her to bring her dad on, but I'm not like that. I don't know if he's going to come on. So, and there may be one other guest, Inger. I'm just waiting to see if this person is going to come on. Can you give another nudge? I did send.
Sure, I will. One thing that I'd like to highlight as well, I'll just come back on in the center, is, you know, I believe that something that I've learned over this year is that I get to choose who's in my circle. Usually, you know, when I was in the corporate world, I didn't have a choice. I had to work with who was there. But now as an entrepreneur, I realize that I get to choose who is in my circle. And one thing that we need to realize is that, yes, we get to choose, and we should choose, because you are really, truly the sum of the people around you. And if you're not choosing the best people, then are you living up to your true potential? I don't think so.
And what timing, as Russ Hedge just came into the comments. And Russ is, for those of you on LinkedIn aren't following him, please, Russ has some amazing shows. He actually is starting a new one in his local area around the subject of Alzheimer's, which I know is an issue near and dear to him, as well as he is Mr. Positivity. If you're having a bad day, just go listen to Russ on one of his shows. Your day will turn around pretty quickly. Okay, we're going to just do we're going to do like a fast pace go through. What is your quick curiosity plan? Oh, we got a woohoo from Russ. Whoop, whoop, whoo, my favorite word. Whoop, whoo. Two words, one word. Okay, so we'll go a quick round the table. And if you can just say what your curiosity goal is for 2022. And then we'll see. I'm going to go see if this other guest is going to come on, because it's kind of an interesting surprise. I'm going to see. So I might go on mute while I'm going to make a quick call. But let's start with Damon. Oh, wait a minute. Someone. Oh, okay. Just wait before we bring this person on stage. We're going to, before we do these, start with you, Damon. This is a very special guest. Now, will he be able to put on his camera? So special guest in the backstage green room. Can you put your camera on, please? Let's see. Okay. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to, without further ado, I want to introduce, this is someone who is very near and dear to me. I often say this has been my greatest gift in life. And this young man
is none other than my son Aiden. Ta-da! There he is.
Thank you for the introduction.
Aiden is actually taking drama at the University of Windsor. And he is actually the intro video that you saw. That was something he put together. And he also worked on a video when I did a panel for the manufacturer. We did a 3-part panel on the sign up, suit up, and show up idea. We worked on doing something fun using, yeah, baby.
Austin Powers.
Austin Powers. Thank you. Thank you. So we had some fun with that. And it was interesting because I think we were watching something and I had said, hey, do you know, and Aiden just recently, just this past year, watched Austin Powers. So Aiden, I know we're putting you on the spot a little bit, but would you want to share something you were curious about in 2021? Is there an area that you explored or which to share?
I'd say TikTok was one area that before this year, I'd say I kind of didn't give it a fair enough chance, maybe. And that was one thing that I was curious about that I kind of learned a lot about. And also video editing is another thing, as you mentioned at the start, how I end up having to look into stuff for you and like helping you out with stuff like that. I think it's such a valuable tool to know how to use that and do different editing softwares and stuff like that. It can really help you in terms of marketing and promoting yourself, especially. Because people don't want to see all the like in between moments, right? So learning how to do like jump cuts and stuff like that to keep the videos fun, interesting, and all that fun stuff is definitely something that's really valuable.
Thank you, Aiden. Yes, and Aiden is being very modest because he did do some amazing video work for me. He actually, his first one was not a cartoon, what was it? An animated one. And he had never done animation, and he did a video for me for a workshop I was doing, and he just put it together. So great. So yes, I am, along with being a very proud mom, though, I will say this, that Aiden did learn a great deal about video editing and is doing some amazing work. I hope he continues on with that. And I think being in drama, that will be, well, I think you've used it in a few
Yeah, we
project,
just had
right?
a project in school that involved kind of making like a short film on your own at home. And so definitely having learned from you and your little projects has really helped me because that helped my marks, which is super helpful right now.
I'm proud. Now I'm a really proud mom. Thank you, Aiden. Thank you for coming on. And I know we actually are going to be on a global show talking about TikTok because I thought I was one of those people that TikTok was kind of one of those ridiculous. I didn't even really get it. And Aiden and actually some of his friends actually showed me a little. I peeled back the curtain, and now I actually am using TikTok a little more for fun, but it has helped with doing some video content. And really, as Aiden said, I'm now much more aware of those jump cuts and keeping things to 15 seconds. Although my promo for this show is a little longer, Aiden, but you'll notice it. So, okay, so let's go quickly around. We're going to talk about curiosity plan and what you see as curiosity for 2022. Over to you, Damon.
All right. Thanks, Gail. This has been awesome. First of all, yes, I was crying, laughing, and then I was crying when you brought your son on because I get around my kids, I cry like crazy. And learned that from my father, though. He told me in his last years, he says, as you get older, he said, as a man, he said, your eyes, the tear ducts work like your bladder. They just produce a lot more, it seems like. And I still remember that, and I laugh because I had a picture of my son from a couple weeks ago when he graduated from college, and someone goes, God, you look like you're stoned. I was like, no, dude, I'm crying. I was having my son's graduation. What the hell? But so anyway, off and enough for that. Curiosity for me in this year is going to be very simple. I'm going to be doing a lot more reading about the world and how to really understand the world we live in better. And not from a business standpoint as much, because I think that will help. But my curiosity plan for this year is to read more and explore. And also, as Ingor talked about, and I don't know why Ingor is worried about being on video. I mean, no one can match her accent. It's just smooth as silk every time I hear you speak. But but learning more about, being a better person because of the people I hang out with, and really understanding that and continuing to work on that, but trying to be a better person to be better for the people that hang out with me as well. And for my family, friends, and everyone. But that's my curiosity plan for the year. And I'm just going to double down on it.
Beautiful. I look forward to that. Damon is going to be doing some different things with his show, his Faces of Business. I got that right?
The
Yes.
Faces of Business. Yep.
Yes.
We're gonna amp that up a bit.
So please follow Damon on LinkedIn and follow his Face of Business show. When I listen, even what I find sometimes listening to shows that I go, I don't even know if I'm gonna know what they're talking about. And then when you had David Chrysler on and I talk about process, I'm like, holy wow, I got some great ideas. I'm like,
good.
Yes. Okay, let's go to Janine. Curiosity plan for 2022. Oh, you're on mute, so we'll just unmute you. Janine, can you? Oh, there we are.
Oh, there I am. Okay.
There we are. Yep.
Gosh, that's a really loaded question for me because I always feel like there's so much I don't know. Sorry, Gail, you got me off guard there.
That's okay. That's right.
Curiosity for 2022. I mean, I kind of think of myself as a lifelong learner, and so there are, like Damon, and many who have spoken on what's going on in different areas. And I think for some, our curiosity, well, I don't know about you, Gail, but there have been times when my curiosity maybe got me in trouble. So I want to temper that a little bit. But, I will say it's easy to get lost in the negativity also of everything that's going on and feel overwhelmed. So I think I do want to focus on curiosity that pushes me to more positivity. And I want to focus on curiosity, again, around people. It's easy for those of us who are in manufacturing to continue to focus on bottom lines and costs and parts and products. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what we're producing. We're all in the business of people. And I think an important part of that is being curious about the people who make the things that make the things. I mean, the actual people. So I'm, going to take that path and just keep my curiosity fed with positivity. I think that's where I can summarize it.
Thank you, Janine. And I know she may be working or not available. Allie Donnelly was on my show last week, and she is a young woman who's an apprentice electrician. And she talked about also issues around mental health as well, and what's happening in the trades, especially for women, but also across the board, even for men. And as one of the things that another hat that I wear is working in the area of mental health with the Canadian Mental Health Association locally, and it's really helped me see, especially during these times, the importance of, how can we do a better job too of really working on the mental health side of things, which is people, right? Because you can have machines, automation, but you still need people to be at the helm. So very true. Thank you, Janine, for that. And let's see, next on deck, let's go to Doug and Lisa. Do you want to talk about either singly, jointly? I don't know if you have a plan of how you want to talk about curiosity for 2022.
Well, I can say a few things. I'm sure Doug has a few things to say of his own, but I think we're still kind of riding high on the heels of our cross Canada trip and all the things that we learned and saw. And so for both of us, I think it's our curiosity is going to be where our bicycles can take us. And so it doesn't really have a business component to it. We're kind of semi-retired, so which we became as we crossed Canada, and we're okay with that. And I think, but now because we've spent so much time in offices and in our careers, that I think it's time for us to give back in communities. And so wherever we go on our bicycles, we have a specific plan maybe to go to the Yukon this summer. I feel like one thing I learned on the bike ride was it's very important to connect with people and try to be part of the community as you are in these we've traveled in a lot of small towns. and just learning about what makes people tick and what makes their community tick. And I'm endlessly curious about that. So I think from the seat of our bicycle, we will pursue that in 2022.
And I think I agree with all of that. I wouldn't add a lot more. I would just emphasize that I think we're all about exploring and discovering, and it'll be in Canada because of COVID. But when we can go further away, we'll take the opportunity to do that as well. Just discover those interesting people all around the world.
Thank you. And I want to add in, and thank you for raising this point, Lisa, that it's not always about business, and it's not always about sharing everything on social. So I'm going to do a little sidebar here to explain sort of my take on this too, is that even though I encourage people to tell their stories, sometimes it's also about, going into community. It's the one-on-one, and we still need to do the work of, supporting communities, supporting, people and what they're doing. And not everything is about business and making money and that kind of thing. It's also about making those connections. And that's so important in showing up. And I love that you talked about that, about showing up in communities and how you can make maybe some change. Because it's a spectrum. I always say, like, social media is a spectrum. And Doug, just like, for all three of us back in the day writing about stories, not every story is going to make it in the paper, but it doesn't mean that it's not important and doesn't need to happen. And I've learned this from even previous employers that I worked at too, is sometimes, if they would make a donation, they would support a cause, and they didn't, I was their publicist, marketers. I said, oh, we should. And they're like, no, we want to do this because it's important. And they sometimes didn't want things to be made public just because they believed that, and they were somewhat at times faith-based. So there was an element of, they wanted to do it based on doing something good. So anybody out there listening, I don't always say everything should be on social media. So I just want to make that caveat clear. So let's see. So Tony.
All right, more for me, huh? Curiosity. My plan for curiosity in 2022. I think that's a weird juxtaposition of words, because I can't really plan where my curiosity is going to go because I don't know what's going to step up in front of me. And so my plan for that is to embrace what's coming at me, and be curious in how I can learn from it and what I'm supposed to take out of that. One of the things that was said was curiosity can sometimes get us in trouble because, if we pick the wrong thing, right? I kind of think we're supposed to be in that trouble to figure out what we're supposed to do with that information, how we're supposed to grow with it, how we're supposed to help somebody else with it, how we're supposed to take that and share a story and make an impact with whatever it is we're going through. For me, the plan for curiosity is just look at what's going on in my life, look what's going on, what's coming at me, and embrace it and tackle it and share it and do it in a way that is dignified and full of learning. So the other part of it is, how do we grow our business and what does that look like? How do we serve people better? How do we take this awesome company that my father created and push it out in new ways and find ways to serve people? And I don't have those answers. So the curiosity part of that is, let's look around. Let's see what the needs are. Let's see what people suggest. Let's see what customers are requesting. Let's see what the industry is calling for, and then make moves and adapt based on that, and not think I have all the answers or can have all the answers. Because let's be honest, we talked about it before, I don't know what God has in store. And so I want what he wants right now. And I'm going to try and dive into that as much as I can.
Thank you, Tony. I think that is a really good description too of how to view curiosity. I'm going to have Inger come, and then Aiden, just be ready. You're next on deck before we wrap up. So I'll give him a few extra minutes to think of his curiosity plan. And Inger, I know. Well, why don't you come up and talk a little bit about how you see curiosity in? It doesn't have to be a plan. It could be how you see using curiosity in 2022.
I've decided on a word that I want to focus on for 2022, which is collaboration. And I think the way that I'm going to do it is use curiosity to explore how I can collaborate with others so that I can add value and positively impact other people.
That is great. I don't know if, oh, he said he was having audio issues. Okay, well, okay, we will, we'll see if he does make a comeback. We had some videos we were going to play today, but I think we just had so much. This has been so excellent. I think Doug and Lisa probably had to drop off as well. I know it has gone an hour. I was thinking, oh, we'll come on a half hour, do a quick roundtable, but I want to thank everybody for coming on and sharing their story. I think this has been, I hope everybody got the value. I know for myself, I was taking a few ideas and notes because this is really helping me as well as I look to 2022 and expanding more on the idea of show up using curiosity. And I'm so grateful that Billy Anna shared her story because I didn't know that from talking with me that she had decided to focus more on her data and analytics because that is her gift. And sometimes we don't know what our gifts are. And I think today has also confirmed for me that I am that person that can sometimes pull those gifts out of people, see those things. And often we can't see that about ourselves. Yes. And as a longtime journalist, I often would tell the story that, I'd go interview someone or I'd set up an interview and they'd, without fail, regular everyday people would often say, I don't know why you're interviewing me. I don't think I have much of a story. And that was usually the most amazing stories that would come out. Janine gave a thumbs up. Janine has the best stories. If we had more time, I would love to have, I may have to have her on just to tell some of her other stories, just about the taxi one. I still laugh at that. So here's the thing too. We often don't see even humor, what is the humor of how we do things. And I was hoping maybe if Aidan did come back, he would tell a little story about, let me just see now. Okay. Well, you know what? Tune in. It'll be promoted in January. We're going to be talking TikTok with the Global Tea Break. And there he is. Okay. So we were just talking about curiosity for 2022 and how we plan to use it. Aidan, so I was also talking about how we sometimes don't see the humor. And is there anything you want to share about what you've learned about working with me on TikTok?
I like what was said about how you can't really predict about what you're going to be curious about in 2022. I think those were some wise words. I think that I'm just going to try to be continuing and being a little more brave. I think that's, for me, what I want to do. I want to be less of a enjoyer of TikTok and more of a creator. I think like taking a step forward with that would be super interesting. That's one of my goals as well. And so just kind of being more confident in taking that first step with a lot of things, including TikTok, and helping you out more with video editing and stuff like that would definitely be a big help as well. I know that was one of my goals for 2021. It sounds weird. 2022 doesn't even sound like a real year, but it's here already. So that's pretty crazy.
So stay tuned, buckle up. Aidan's gonna be, you know what, we've done a couple of TikToks together, and those ones always do really well too. We did one that Aidan helped produce for me that is done. The one with the head.
Oh yeah,
that was very fun. So, well, that's exciting. I'm very happy. I know, as I said, with Aidan's background in drama and his video editing, we were going to have a pretty good year. So, I don't think I've missed anybody unless Billy Anna is here and wants to come back on. As I said, I know she's enjoying time with her dad. So Billy Anna, if you want to come on and wrap up and talk about 2022, otherwise, maybe not. Okay. We will, for those of you that, I want to say this, even for anyone else listening, everybody on this call has a TEDx story in them. I strongly encourage you to, if you can, join in on one of Billy Anna's challenges. She does these challenges that are either low cut, very just go learn from her, and it may help you build your story. And as I said, I just know all of you could do a great TEDx. So, and she talks about building it from using keywords and strategy before you even write your TEDx. So, and now that I've said that, I better get my butt in gear too on that. So I know. Got to work on that. Aidan, you have a TEDx in you too. I know that. So Okay, we're going to start our wrap up, and if everybody can wait, I'll meet you in the green room. I'm gonna wrap up, and then Inger, maybe we'll on our way out today after I do my wrap up and goodbye, we'll do the we'll maybe bring on one of the videos. I think we'll do the Nathalie Gregg one if you can find it, and we'll have that as our ending. So I'll meet everybody in the green room. I just want to say a quick hi to you, and I'll just do a quick wrap up now. So wait till. Okay, thank you everyone for stopping by today. It was very exciting to have such a amazing group of people on the call. I'm just trying to get my AirPods here. Okay. So my name is, again, Gail Robertson. You can find me here on LinkedIn, but also on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. So looking forward to seeing everyone in the new year. I am working on plans for 2022 with my business with Gailnow. It will be focused on sign up, suit up, and show up. And so lots of ideas even gathered today. So I will be using some of this to carry forward into next year. And for me, my main goal for 2022 will be to be curious, not judgmental, and maybe expand on that and help grow out that concept as part of some of my other speaking work that I do, to really look at how we can make change in the world, how we can be kinder, how we can be more compassionate, and how we can be more understanding of what is happening in the world, and also helping lift everyone up. And this is a quote from Walt Whitman. It was also popularized on the show Ted Lasso, which is one of my favorite shows, and a show that I share great love for along with my son Aiden. So it's a show that we do watch together along with our friend Molly. So thanks everybody for coming out today. And please follow me, say hello to me on social media, join in. If you're listening still, drop a comment. And everyone, please have a safe New Year's Eve, and let's go into 2022 with great love, great compassion, great enthusiasm for what awaits. And I look forward to seeing you all next year.